Good day. The following video depicts Expert Field Medical Badge Warrior Task Number 9, Request Medical Evacuation. This task was taught in conjunction with Expert Infantryman Badge and Expert Soldier Badge testing. The video consists of the task grader providing instructions to a group of candidates for the first time during training standardization. Please note that uniforms depicted during standardization training differ from those required during testing by the EFMB Test Control Office. The video was recorded in April 2023, utilizing the June 2022 testing standards.
Hey, check it out. Welcome to Lane 1, Country Medical 1, request an online medevac. All right? So real quick, this is what it's going to look like when you come in on test day, all right? Everything that's on the table is going to be exactly how it is right now, with maybe potentially an additional T-CCC cord, okay, for this scenario. Everybody tracking? All right, so what this is going to look like is you're going to have this laid on the table. We're going to have some sort of a cover over it, whether it be a 17 panel or a towel or something like that, all right? We're going to make weird eye contact with you, all right? We're going to give you a 3, 2, 1, go. We're going to pull off the cover, all right? That's going to start your 3 minutes, all right? The first 3 minutes, that's your 3 minutes. That's for you to fill out your 9 line. It doesn't matter what you write on that paper, okay? Again, it doesn't matter what you write on that paper. We're not evaluating you on what you write. We're only evaluating you on what you actually transmit over the radio. Everybody tracking? Okay, so you can write on there whatever you want. All right, highly suggest though, however, you write it out exactly how you're going to transmit over the radio, including all your breaks. If you're struggling with brevity codes, you're struggling with pronunciation, write it out. All right, so that way when you go into the next sequence to actually call it over the radio, you're just reading off the script. Make sense? Okay, cool. So that first 3 minutes is yours. What that's going to look like inside of that 3 minutes, you're going to have to call up that 9 line, okay? So whether it's at 2 minutes and 59 seconds or earlier, when you're confident that you're ready to send it, you're simply going to pick up the hand mic and you're going to say, I have a medevac request, okay? That's it. There's no you, this is me, none of that stuff. I have a medevac request. All right, grader's going to make weird eye contact with you again, all right? And he's going to give you zeros on the clock, 3, 2, 1, go, all right? You're going to have 25 seconds to transmit lines 1 through 5 with perfect 100% accuracy, okay? So lines 1 through 5, perfect accuracy. All the pronunciations, everything's exactly right. 25 seconds, all right? So that 25 seconds elapses, you get your transmission out in that 25 seconds. At line 5, you say over. All right, the next thing that's gonna happen is there's gonna be another additional 1 minute sequence on the back end of that. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go to your radio and you're gonna change the frequency from your medevac frequency that you were just calling on over to your operational frequency, okay? What that's gonna look like for you is just simply changing it from channel 1 to channel 2. Everything's gonna be pre-programmed in the radio for you, okay? So, channel 1 to channel 2, when the grader's gonna tell you that you've reestablished contact with the medevac platform, okay? And then you're simply gonna go right into line 6, okay? Cuts out all that you, this is me, and all that kind of crap. Right into line 6, through 9er. You'll have that 1 additional minute to transmit those lines, 6 through 9er. Everybody's tracking? On line 9er, you say over, and then you go on to the next station and you get on with your life. Everybody good with that? So now we're gonna get into each individual line. So the first thing you're doing to come up, obviously the first line is gonna be where you are, okay? So on this map, this one doesn't have a little sticker, but if you look at where these are, it's gonna be plotted on your points gonna be plotted on the map, and there's gonna be a big blue arrow pointed at it, okay? You only need to get your point accurate within 600, or with 6 digits within 200 meters, okay? 200 meters. That's all you gotta get. 6-digit grid. All right, not to insult anybody's intelligence, but real quick, him and I are gonna show you how to plot a point. Okay?
All right. So does anyone here not know how to plot a point?
Everybody kind of, if you guys want to.
All right, I'm still teach this. It's gonna be real easy. So the first thing within line 1, you're gonna get the grid zone identifier. For this example and scenario, it's gonna be Papa Juliet. Moving on over here, this is my grid right here. Little red dot, blue arrow. So now that I said that, is this my grid? No. If I had a giant sign that said the grader said this is my grid, is this still my grid? No. Red dot, blue arrow is going to be your grid all the time. So once I see that the grid zone is within my eastings and my northing, the first thing I'm going to find is my easting, which is going to be left to right down here. I see it's between 0.5 and 0.6, so I know my easting is going to be 0.5. I see it's within grid scale on my northing over here from bottom up. It's going to be 9 or 5, because that's where the grid zone's lined up on. So I'm going to see that, take my protractor, put it in the lower left-hand corner of that square, slide it across my easting over here until I hit that little red dot. And I see it's a little bit past the 5 on my easting, so it's going to be 0.5, 5. And my northing over here is going to be 9 or 5. It's between tree and Fowler. It's closer to Fowler, so I'm going to hit Fowler. It needs to be a 6-digit grid only, and it must be within 200 meters. Any questions on how to plot a point? Too easy.
Cool, so we've figured out where we are, all right? So now that we can get that bird. All right, line 2, your radio frequency and call sign. So if you look inside on the script, okay, so in the conditions, it's gonna be all laid out for you. It's gonna have your operational net written down on that piece of paper, okay? That's your operational net, that's what you need to put in there, all right? So your operational frequency and your call sign. Your call sign is gonna be candidate 1 today, tomorrow, the next day, and on test day. Everybody tracking? That's also gonna be written down in your conditions, okay? So frequency first, call sign second, all right? Moving on, your patients by precedence, okay? Line 3 is where you're gonna have to start remembering your brevity codes, all right? There's only 3 that you're gonna be required to remember. If you look on the top of the TCCC card, all right, that's TC3, right here. You guys over here, right here. You're gonna notice that it says urgent, priority, or routine, right? Those are the 3 that we're gonna require you to remember. Now, on these NATO cards and on the actual 20 boards and in your books, it's gonna have a brevity code and a precedence listed for frickin' urgent surgical and convenience. We're not using those, but those brevity codes still apply to those precedences. Everybody's tracking? So for you guys, what you need to remember is A, alpha, C, Charlie, and D, delta. Urgent, priority, and routine. Those are only 3. Are we good? Now, if you've got multiple patients, all right, inside that line, say I've got 1 urgent and I've got 1 priority, you're just gonna look like this. You're gonna have your urgent patient first, okay? So alpha 1, brevity code first, then the number, right? So alpha 1, break. I'm gonna audibly state break over the radio. Then I'm gonna get Charlie 1 for that priority patient. Are we tracking? So for any other line down from there, if you're calling up multiple pieces of equipment or multiple nationalities, whatever the case may be, you'll have to audibly state break in between those categories inside of that same line.
So it's not you fucking
Wait, say your question still in. All right, so that's your patients by precedence, all right? Moving on. Line 4, your special equipment needed, all right? So in your conditions, it's gonna state in there exactly where you are, okay? Terrain feature, where you are. Okay, that's gonna dictate a little bit of what your special equipment needed, all right? So if you're in the middle of triple canopy jungle, it's gonna state that the helicopter can't land. That's when you're gonna have to associate that and realize, okay, helicopter can't land, I may need a hoist, all right? I need a hoist. Everybody's tracking? Now, for ventilator in this line, any mechanism of injury that occurs to the upper thoracic cavity, the chest area, upper back, or throat, all right, anything. I don't care if it's a bee sting or a gunshot wound, put down ventilator. You're not gonna be wrong. There's your free chicken, first piece. Everybody got it? If you look on your TCCC card, you'll see those little figures, all right? If the mechanism of injury is marked on there, X, and it's anywhere around the chest area, go ahead and put ventilator. You're not gonna be wrong on test day. All right, cool. Your patients by type, all right? This one's easy. It's just if they're walking or they can't walk, all right? Litter or ambulatory, all right? So again, any mechanism of injury that occurs from the waist down, I don't care if it's a stub toe or an amputation, okay? There'll be a littered patient, all right? And you're not gonna be wrong on test day. Everybody's tracking? Now, if it's a gunshot wound to the chest, are they gonna be ambulatory?
No.
But it didn't have a mechanism of injury to the legs, right? But they have a sucking chest wound. Are they ambulatory?
No.
No, they'll be a littered patient as well. If they got a gunshot wound to their arm, are they litter or ambulatory?
Could be ambulatory.
So they could be ambulatory, right? But you could argue that they are a litter patient because maybe they're bleeding out, maybe they went into shock, maybe they can't walk, maybe they're freaking out, okay? If you can make it make sense and it makes sense like that and it's within that realm of reasonability, absolutely put it down, okay? All right, it's better to not have to argue it. Pretty easy, right? Okay, cool. Moving on. So at that point right there, that line 5, that's when you're gonna stop and you're gonna say over, okay? That ends that 25-second sequence. Everybody's tracking? Now, I gotta go over and change my radio. So he's gonna show over there. I'll show you guys first, and then I'll get over to you guys. I'll show you a second here real quick. All right, so for the radio, it's
So,
gonna be 3 programs
for the
in
ASIP,
net.
you're only going to change it from channel 1 to channel 2. That's the only thing you need to do. You're going to get up to your radio, you're going to hit menu clear until it says channel equals 1. I'm going to look to confirm, then I'm going to hit 2. Now it says channel equals 2. Now I'm on channel 2. If you still don't believe in myself or your abilities, hit frequency. Now this frequency is different from the frequency provided. Any questions on that? Too easy, right? So now I'm going to change it back to channel 1. I'm going to hit menu clear until it says channel equals 2. I'm going to hit channel 1 because that's the channel I want. I still don't believe in myself or when you guys do it. Hit frequency. Now it's the same frequency as what I originally had. Any questions on how to change from channel 1 to channel 2 on ASIP radio? Too easy. No, you're not loading anything. We never said you're loading anything. You're just changing channels from channel 1 to channel 2.
We just remember to do it after we send.
That'll be a second portion. Lines 1 through 5 will be 25 seconds. Lines 6 through 9, you'll have 60 seconds, and that starts with you guys doing this.
All right, cool. So now we're inside of that additional 1 minute that we have, okay, to transmit lines 6 through 9, all right? So on these NATO cards, and you guys are going to see these floating around, and they're going to be taped to the tables, all right? And on the 20 board, I don't think it's got anything, but anyway, on these cards, don't get confused. On line 6, there's a peacetime line. Don't disregard it. In your conditions brief, it's going to clearly say today, tomorrow, and the next day. It'll say you're in wartime in a non-CBRN environment, okay? It clarifies everything.
Non-CBRN,
right, so you're
not wearing your mask.
So we're going to look for security of the pickup site for line 6, okay? Which is really stupid easy. There's either going to be no enemy troops in the area, possible enemy troops in the area, or if there are definitively enemy troops in the area, you're going to have to call up the brevity code X-ray with an armed escort required, okay? We've completely nixed the part where it says enemy troops in the area, approach with caution. That's stupid and that doesn't make sense, okay? So you don't have to remember that one. Just if there is none, if there's possible enemy in the area, and if there definitely is enemy, and this will all be stated clearly in your conditions, okay? In that script, okay? And you'll be able to choose the appropriate one for the security pickup site. Make sense? Think of it like this. Obviously, none's easy to remember because the brevity code's November. Possible, it's easy to remember because the brevity code's Papa. And for X-ray, all right, for an armed escort required is X-ray. Escort, think of it like that. Escort required.
It's free chicken for test day. If there's an enemy in the area, you're going to
Line
need
7,
that armed
method of
escort.
marking. All right, so you can see on the table the 3 different methods of marking. All right, I'm gonna move that paper there so everybody can see. So you see your 3 different methods of marking. All right, you're gonna have 4 different options with these 3 methods of marking. The VS-17 panel works in daytime and nighttime limited conditions. Okay, so if you're in a large open area like this, like we are today, all right, would a VS-17 panel work?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, daytime or nighttime. All right, but if you're in triple canopy jungle at nighttime, you think that VS-17 panel is the appropriate method of marking?
No.
Hell no. All right. So the freaking colored smoke works in all daytime conditions. All daytime conditions.
Charlie.
So if in the conditions you are in the bottom of the ocean, but it's daytime, you'll use colored smoke. Everybody tracking? All right. The infrared signal works in all nighttime conditions.
Echo for
that will be
other.
Other on your sheets. Okay. There's no specific one to it. Don't confuse yourselves. It's just other, and we know what you're talking about. Got it? So the infrared works in all nighttime conditions. And then, like I said, VS-17 is an option, daytime or nighttime, but in limited conditions.
Alpha.
Everybody got it? Cool. Moving on. Patient's nationality, okay? Patient nationality status. This one's easy. There's only 4 you gotta remember out of the 5, all right? It's either U.S. military, U.S. civilian, non-U.S. military, non-U.S. civilian. Those are only 4 you gotta remember in that order, okay? Alpha Bravo, Charlie Delta, okay? On your sheets, on these NATO cards, and on there, it's got EPW listed. We're not gonna fucking ever call a 9-line for that guy, okay? Not in any of these scenarios.
Free chicken again
Guys,
for test
track
day.
it? Cool. All right, so for your line 9, line 9er, it's gonna be written on your sheet, okay? It's the same line that you use to determine your method of marking and the same line that you use to determine what special equipment needed. All right, it's gonna say right now, today's on all the scenarios, that you're located in a large open area adjacent to a paved road. So line 9er would look just like that. Line 9er, located in a large open area adjacent to a paved road. You guys got it? If it says you're located in a triple canopy jungle next to a creek, it would be line 9er, located in a triple canopy jungle
It's right there.
next to a creek.
People are still missing it.
And that ends it, and you can leave the
It's my
lane.
most failed line.
And forget all of this. Everybody tracking?
For real.
I'm not even
Awesome. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna show you what this looks like from top to bottom. Okay? We're gonna break down in groups. If you guys are gonna try have to get around
Keep it
the
tight.
table over
Keep
here.
it tight.
All right, and then what we'll do is get some real estate, and we'll let you guys get hands on.
Within this group, any questions about what he just said? No questions?
Charlie Alpha.
Echo. Charlie for colored smoke, Alpha for panel, Echo for infrared signal. I'm gonna get my first note. If you have any questions or anything that you guys want to ask between each other, reference the book, do not guess. Pull out the book and read it. That will get you goes for EFMB, that will get you goes for the rest of the other lanes as well. Don't confuse each other and say the wrong brevity codes out loud. Read it what it is. I promise you that will get you goes, or ask your grader. So, no questions about that. I'm going to continue and break this down all the way through from left to right here, and I'm doing that for a reason here. So, coming up to the top of my TCCC here, I got battle roster Bravo Kilo Tree Flower 55. What is that already giving me? U.S. military. Thank you. Bravo Kilo Tree Flower 55. That's written in English, as well as that's the same roster number, damn near close to, that everyone has on their ACHs. So that's going to be your first notation that it is going to be a U.S. service member. Moving over to your second line here, you got urgent, priority, or routine. It's going to be one of those three. Don't make up urgent surgical. We don't have it available in this TCCC. Don't make up your own brevity for whatever the scenario is as well. If he's got a double amputee and it happens to be routine, then he's routine double amputee. Don't make up your own. Trust me. So, urgent for Alpha, priority is going to be Charlie, routine is going to be Delta. Don't mix that up. There's no urgent surgical on these TCCCs. Moving on over here, I got 12:30 and 12 o'clock. What does that tell me for my signaling? It's daytime. Yeah. Now, what if it says 22:30 and zero dark stupid?
Nighttime.
It's going to be nighttime. You can't pull any of that stuff about being in Alaska if that's your duty station, right? No. We're in Oahu. We're testing. Your grid square is in the Kahukus, just north of us, right? So, if it says 12:30 and 12, that's daytime. 2200, that's nighttime. Good job. It will also be clarified down here. Moving along here with your TCCC, I got Service Army and Unit 34 Cav. What does that tell you? U.S. Army, right? U.S. That's the key term there, because 34 Cav is hosting this whole entire lane for medical, and that's a U.S. unit. Moving down to the actual casualty itself. Oh, excuse me. So, to come down here to identify the nationality. Let me throw a chink in your chain here. Battle roster number doesn't exist. I got service number, service says Army and a unit you've never heard of and can't even recognize. What do you think that service member is? Or excuse me, what do you think that nationality is?
Non-U.S. military.
Non-U.S. military. Good job. Now, that's when you guys actually have to use the context clues here to understand what the actual casualty is, so you set it up appropriately. This lane is a little bit of a thinker where you actually have to apply what you're using and how to send it up appropriately using the proper equipment. Moving on to the actual body itself here. So when reading this, by default, gunshot wound to the arm, is he by default a litter or ambulatory? Ambulatory. He can walk. He has no injuries to the legs. Now what if he has a bee sting to the calf down here? Litter. Any injuries to the legs down here is going to be litter. Now what if he has gunshot wound to the chest? What are the two things we need? Ventilator and a litter, right there given. Now for this example, I got a gunshot wound to the arm, but I got a tourniquet applied, so that says that it's a pretty bad wound. So can you sell me that as a litter potentially?
Yes.
What's that key term I'm looking for?
Excessive blood loss.
And? Shock. That's that key term I'm looking for. Now what if I had a gunshot wound to the arm, but no tourniquet's been applied? You can't sell me as a litter because it probably isn't that bad of a gunshot wound, but he still needs medical attention. Probably maybe a few stitches. He's holding it with his hand. Can't sell me on that litter though. If he doesn't even have a tourniquet applied to a gunshot wound, it's not that bad then. Moving down to the actual conditions. 80% of your answers are going to be right here. 80% of them. You got your grid zone identifier, your frequency, daytime or nighttime. Line 9er is given to you right here. It says non-CBRN environment and you're in wartime. Non-CBRN environment. You guys aren't wearing your masks. Non-CBRN environment. I know it's going to be asked when it comes down to line 9er. I know for a fact it is. So, moving on to the actual map itself, your grid will be fully identified with a red dot, blue arrow. Easy as that, just right then and there. Your grid zone identifier will be over here in conditions. Moving over to your signals over here, right? Infrared signal is always going to be nighttime. It's going to be echo. Your alpha for panel is day or night, depending the scenario. Colored smoke, Charlie, is usable for all day. So let me throw a few situations at you. Large open area during the day. What can we use? Alpha or Charlie? Perfect. Moving over to nighttime, triple canopy. What can we use? Echo for that signal, right? Now what if it's triple canopy in the day? What can we use? Charlie, not Alpha. If you look up in my makeshift triple canopy right now, the VS17 panel is the same color as the flowers above my triple canopy right now. They won't be able to see it, and you won't be able to have a VS17 panel visible through my triple canopy. But colored smoke can be used. So make sure you guys actually think about the scenario and the situation with the time of day, and you guys will be able to accurately pick one. So, moving on here, once you guys actually walk up to it, this will be fully erased, and you'll have to memorize all brevity. Do you have any questions about what I just went over?
I have one question.
Yes.
So, we already went over these brevity. The only one that changes over here is there's Alpha, Bravo, and then Delta. There is 0 Charlie, correct?
For what?
For the
For the evac?
Yeah, urgent.
So the category is going to be Alpha for urgent. This is what I'm talking about when you guys spout out wrong answers, right? Charlie's priority. Charlie's priority. Delta for routine.
Okay.
There is no Bravo.
No
Do
Bravo.
you see an urgent surgical on this TCCC? The answer is for the boys in the back, no. There is not. Don't make up brevity. Don't guess. This is what I'm talking about. I have probably 15 other people here who just heard Bravo is the right answer. It is incorrect. You will not use Bravo for the evac of urgent, priority, or routine. Do I make myself clear? I've seen it all week where people spout out the wrong answer because they guess, and their buddies to the next to them are getting no-goes. Don't get in that habit. Reference your book. All right, so I'm gonna break it down even further here. On this right side over here, we have a made-up scenario by your peers for your peers. You guys can adjust that as necessary, make up the TCCC card, the scenario, modify whatever you